The Microfreak makes a great metronome.
Freebie.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat. Today's patron shoutout goes to Little Bobby Tables. Thank you so very much for the support. Let's get started. If you've been following the channel lately, you'll know that I'm working on a live rig that involves a looper, so I've been really focusing on tightening my timing up. And one aspect of tightening your timing is to play your instrument to a metronome. Now, I also suffer from extreme ADHD, and metronomes have always been very, very boring to me throughout my 20-plus years drumming. So, I decided to look through my instruments, the various synthesizers and drum machines and groove boxes that I own, and try to make something that was a little more engaging as a metronome. And I settled on the Microfreak, and I've been really, really happy with the results. They're pretty simple patches, but I'm able to really play around with them, and I feel like they keep me on my toes, and I have seen a noticeable improvement in my playing, both at the drum set and then at my live rig as well. So I figured I would just walk you through what I've done here. I've made a couple patches on the Microfreak. Hopefully you can see the screen there. I've got 3 of them, one at 120 BPM, one at 140, one at 180. And I'll just go ahead and hit hold here and let you have a listen. I'm just going to go ahead and play a basic E minor chord. Okay, so like I said, it's pretty simple, but when it comes to actually using it as a practice tool, it's very, very engaging. As you can probably tell, I've set up some modulations here. I've actually got 2, and they both involve the LFO. So essentially what you're hearing is the LFO changing the oscillator type every 4 counts, and we use the arpeggiator to accomplish that. What this does is it basically creates a distraction in the Microfreak. So every 4 counts, the sound itself is going to change that's coming out of the Microfreak, whether we play a chord or just a single note. Go. As you can hear, sometimes it doesn't change. It's all based on the random LFO shape and set to whole note, which of course 1 whole note equals 1 measure. So I'm going to go to an initialized patch here, and I'll go ahead and show you how I set this up because I think it's pretty handy. So if we go into Utility, and then Preset, and then Modulations, if you go down to LFO Retrig, we want to make sure that is set to off. And that's because we don't want the LFO to retrigger every time we play a new note or the arpeggiator plays a new note. We want it to last for the full whole note, or 4 full counts. So yeah, we want to make sure that's off. Then what we're going to do is engage the arpeggiator here. And I'm just going to keep it with this super basic sound. That's actually what I did for my other templates as well. I'm going to turn the release down until it gets pretty snappy. You can also turn your sustain down if you want. There we go. That sounds nice. If we press hold, then of course we can hold it. Now what we want to do is pick our tempo. So let's go for a tempo I don't have yet. Let's just go 130, okay? Oh, that's 129. 130. There we go. Now that we have our tempo picked, we can click this knob in to enable sync here, and this will allow us to choose a time division for the arpeggiator. What I want to do is scroll down to 1/4, which is a quarter note. That's going to give us a nice metronome-style pulse. Just like that. Again, holds it. Okay, now let's set up our modulation that makes this interesting to play to. So that is done with the type knob. That's how we change our sound. And we want to use the LFO to modulate that. So you'll notice that the type knob is not a default destination here, so let's go ahead and set it to assign 3. So I hold down assign 3 and then wiggle the type knob. Now assign 3's destination is the type knob. Now on the digital patch bay, we're going to go down to LFO to assign 3. And I'm just going to max it out. Okay? Now that sounds like garbage. What's going on? Well, we have to set the rate of our LFO as well as the shape. So first of all, let's set the shape. We want it to be the random square wave here, which is option 5 right there. Sample and hold. But I'm so bad at this stuff, the square version of it. Getting there, but it still sounds bad. That's because we need to adjust the rate of the LFO. And to do that, we use this knob here, and we're going to scroll all the way down to 1 of 1, or whole note. That is going to give us 4 quarter note counts of each oscillator type. There we go, just like that. Pretty cool, right? So that's the basics of the patch. Now, of course, we can use Spice and Dice here to funk up our arpeggiator even more. Let's go ahead and play a C minor chord. You can also set the play mode here to random if you'd like, so it's going to randomly select between those 3 notes. Now let's go ahead and use Spice. We can also use Dice. And as you can hear, we're getting like very sporadic metronome, which is great for testing your own timing, you know, counting when there's nothing there to guide you and then making sure you're with it when it comes back in. There's, you know, various other ways to randomize it too. One thing you can also do is, since our LFO is already set up to the proper timing, we can actually send that to the wave knob at a depth of 100. Same thing with the timbre knob. We can turn down Spice to hear something a bit more normal. You can hear sometimes it's almost inaudible, which can be really cool too. Now, I know this isn't anything crazy, but as a practice tool, I'm finding this incredibly useful for honing my own timing and keeping my attention while I'm playing. The fact that it's always changing, it's always giving some kind of new distraction, which if you've ever played live, you know there's constant distractions out there. This is just a really great way to rehearse, in my opinion, and I've been having a blast with it for the past week or so. The Spice can add some big gaps in there, so definitely be prepared to pay attention and get that internal clock going as well. Inside your brain, that internal clock, not the one in here. That one's already going. Hopefully the one in your brain's going too. And then, like I showed you, I've just saved several of these here, 120, 140, and 180. Then I can just switch to them when I need a metronome at that tempo. And if I want to change the tempo, you can. It's super easy. You can even just click save and like save to a new slot and then redo it that way. But you can literally change tempo just by making sure sync is turned off, or not turned off, but not being adjusted. And then just do your tempo like that. And if you want to give yourself even more of a challenge, you can come down to the LFO here and maybe set it to half notes. It's always jarring when the chord oscillator comes up. You can do quarter notes. That will make every note different. That one's pretty good for practice as well. I wouldn't recommend going faster than that, because while it sounds cool, it's not going to be very effective for practice. So quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes are what I recommend for your LFO sync rate. And yeah, here's a little footage of me playing around on my electric drum kit to it. Pretty fun. And of course, since this is working with the ARP, you do have all the different play modes and stuff like that. You can work on different pitches, and then maybe, you know, playing with keys or a synth or, you know, bass or a guitar. There's lots of melodic options here for practice as well. I think it's just a really versatile tool. Don't forget, you also have the sample engine in here, so if you really wanted to fine-tune yourself a metronome that sounds very specific, but still has access to all these modulations, you can do that too. I think it's just a really great way to rehearse, and I've been using the Microfreak a ton this past week or so, just as a metronome, and I've been really, really enjoying it. I think it's excellent. Just like I hope you thought this video was excellent. If you did, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.